Welcome back to English Podcast Go. I'm Cyrus, and each episode brings you closer to confident English. Let's jump into today's episode.
Okay, let's try to picture this. Imagine a world, our world, but completely invisible. Not dark, there's light everywhere, sunlight, strange glows from the deep ocean vents maybe.
Right, plenty of light.
But nothing, absolutely nothing alive has any way to actually see it. We're talking, what, 540 million years ago?
Yeah, way back, life was teeming, things were happening, but visually, nothing. No eyes, no way to process that light.
It's almost impossible to imagine, isn't it? A world full of stuff, but no concept of sight.
It really is. All that activity just unperceived visually for a very, very long time.
Until, bam, something changed. The arrival of trilobites.
Trilobites, yeah. Among the first critters we know of that actually developed, proper eyes, maybe simple, but they could sense light, distinguish things.
They were the first ones to step into this reality we just completely take for granted now, like discovering a whole new dimension.
And what happened next? Well, it was explosive. Literally, the Cambrian explosion, this burst of animal diversity.
And sight was the trigger.
Many scientists think so, yeah. It wasn't just about seeing light passively. It fundamentally changed how life interacted with everything. It pushed the evolution of nervous systems.
So seeing led to understanding.
Exactly. Seeing became insight, which led to action, escaping danger, finding food. And that loop, perception, action, perception, that's what really started building intelligence.
Which kind of brings us full circle to today.
Yeah.
We're trying to build our own version of that, right? Machines that can see, understand, act, maybe even better than us.
And that puts us right in the middle of artificial intelligence, and specifically this amazing field of computer vision.
So for this deep dive, we're looking at a really great source, a TED Talk transcript from Fei-Fei Li, who's a real pioneer here.
She really is. And her talk maps out this journey from the early days of trying to get computers to see all the way to this cutting-edge idea of spatial intelligence.
Spatial intelligence. Okay, sounds important. What does it mean? What's the potential? Let's get into it.
Let's do it. So she points to this moment, maybe 9 years back, give or take. That was like the big bang for modern computer vision.
Right. She talks about three things really coming together.
Yeah, a perfect storm almost. First, the algorithms, specifically neural networks. They'd been around, but they were ready for a comeback.
Okay, algorithms. What else?
Power. Sheer computing power. That came from these specialized chips, GPUs, graphic processing units. They're super fast for the kind of math these networks need.
Makes sense. Algorithms, power, and the third piece.
Data. Lots and lots of data. And this is where ImageNet comes in, which my lab actually curated. 15 million images, all carefully labeled.
15 million, wow.
Yeah. That data was the fuel. You had the algorithms, the fast hardware, and now this massive data set to train them on. That combination just, boom, kicked things off.
And the first big success, the goal back then, it seems almost quaint now. Just getting a computer to put the right label on a picture.
It does sound basic now, doesn't it? But believe me, it was revolutionary. And the speed of progress was just incredible.
That ImageNet challenge your lab ran, that was like the yearly benchmark, right?
Exactly. Every year, the machines got way better very quickly. They actually started outperforming humans on that specific labeling task.
But it didn't stop at just, this is a cat, did it? It got more complex.
Oh, absolutely. Pretty quickly, the algorithms could do more. Not just label the cat, but actually outline it perfectly, separate it from the background. That's segmentation.
Okay.
And then it went further, starting to figure out relationships between objects, like how things in the scene might connect or interact dynamically.
Right. Okay. Now this connects to something else really cool the talk mentions. That earlier work, teaching a computer to look at a photo and describe it in a sentence. With Andrej Karpathy, right?
Yes, that was a big step. Going from just pixels to a whole descriptive sentence, that felt like a leap in sort of understanding.
But then someone asked the what if question. Could you flip it?
The reverse challenge. You give the computer the sentence, the description, and it makes the picture, or even a video.
Which back then sounded like science fiction, basically.
Pretty much people thought, no way, but well, the impossible doesn't last long in AI.
Apparently not.
Because that reverse challenge is exactly what got unlocked by these things called diffusion models. They're the engine behind all the generative AI we're seeing now.
Like OpenAI's Sora and things like that, generating video from text.
Exactly like Sora. And the talk mentions another one, Walt, which my student and collaborators actually developed, month before Sora was widely known. It showed this was happening fast.
And it produced some amazing stuff, but also some funny glitches, right? The talk had that example.
Oh, the catastrophe. Chuckles slightly.
Huh.
Yeah, the Walt video showing a cat diving under this big ocean wave.
But it seems perfectly dry.
Exactly. It nailed the visual concept, mostly, but missed a fundamental bit of physics there. Which is actually useful. Those mistakes help refine the models.
So the progress is stunning. Labeling, describing, now creating images and video from text. Mind-blowing. But the talk's main point seems to be that's still not the whole picture. Just seeing isn't enough.
This is so crucial. For living things, for us, seeing isn't just soaking up information. It's fundamentally tied to doing things, to learning.
How so?
Well, when we perceive the world, especially in 3D, over time, that perception informs our actions, and our actions then change what we perceive. It's this constant loop. Nature built this cycle into us, and she calls it spatial intelligence.
Spatial intelligence. Okay, so it's not just recognizing the objects.
No, it's way more. It's understanding the relationships between objects in 3D space, their geometry, how they're positioned relative to each other, how they might interact.
Like the example she gives, a glass on a table near a cat.
Perfect example. You see that, and your brain instantly does more than label glass, table, cat. It gets the 3D layout. Glass on table, cat near glass. And it predicts possibilities.
Like the cat might knock the glass over.
Right, and you feel that little internal nudge, that urge to act she talks about. Maybe I should move the glass. That feeling, that predictive understanding linked to potential action in the physical world. That's spatial intelligence.
And if we want AI to be truly useful, truly intelligent like us, it needs that too. It can't just see and talk. It needs to be able to do.
Precisely. It needs to understand and interact with the physical world.
But teaching that seems incredibly hard. Our brains evolved over millions of years to translate the flat 2D image from our retinas into this rich 3D understanding. How do you teach a machine that?
It is really hard, no question. But the progress just recently has been, well, genuinely exciting. AI is starting to learn spatial intelligence.
Really? How?
We're seeing algorithms now, like some Google research mentioned, that can look at a whole bunch of photos of a place and reconstruct the full 3D space.
Wow, from just flat pictures.
Yeah. And others, like work for my student and collaborators, can take just one picture and generate a plausible 3D shape from it.
One picture to 3D. That's impressive.
It is. And then you have researchers, University of Michigan, for instance, translating text descriptions like a cozy living room with a fireplace directly into a 3D layout you can move around in.
And that other Stanford project.
Yeah.
Taking one image and just generating endless explorable space around it.
Right. It's like infinitely extending the world from a single photo. All these are, early steps, but they're the beginnings of translating the real world into a digital form that understands space and geometry, building that shared digital spatial understanding.
Okay, so AI is starting to grasp 3D space. How does that connect to, say, robots actually doing things in the real world?
It's the missing link. This progress in spatial intelligence is the catalyst that's really pushing robotic learning forward for what we call embodied intelligence.
Embodied intelligence, meaning AI in a physical body, like a robot.
Exactly. Robots need to understand the 3D world they exist in. Just training AI on static pictures like ImageNet was great for recognizing things, but robots need to learn about movement, physics, action, consequences, all in 3D space and time.
And you can't just film robots doing every possible thing in the real world forever, right? That data collection would be impossible.
Precisely. So this is where simulation becomes absolutely vital. If you have good 3D spatial models of environments, you can create these virtual worlds.
Digital playgrounds for robots.
Kind of, yeah. Simulation environments where robots can safely practice tasks, learn behaviors, try things out countless times, fail safely, learn from it. My lab has a big project called Behavior, focused exactly on this, teaching robots complex actions in simulation.
Okay, so robots are learning actions in these virtual 3D worlds. What happens when you combine that with the AI language skills we talked about earlier? Generating descriptions, understanding text.
Oh, now it gets really interesting, and we're seeing the first really exciting steps here. You use the large language models as the input, the way we talk.
So you could just tell the robot what to do.
Basically, yes. Teams, including my students and collaborators, are showing robots performing tasks based on simple verbal instructions.
Like what kind of task?
Things like, can you open that drawer? Or unplug the phone that's charging over there. But it's moving towards more complex stuff, too.
More complex how?
Like the demo mentioned, telling a robot, make me a sandwich using the bread, lettuce, and tomatoes on the counter. And the robot identifies them, picks them up, assembles the sandwich,
And even gets a napkin.
and even adds a napkin. Though, yes, the user in the demo apparently wanted a bit more filling in their sandwich.
Left slightly. Room for improvement, always.
As always. But it shows this powerful convergence. Spatial understanding, action learning, and language comprehension coming together. Robots that can understand us and act purposefully in the world.
This is fascinating from a tech perspective, but where is this spatial intelligence actually making a difference for people, like right now?
Yeah, that's the important question. And one area where the impact is already becoming profound is healthcare.
Healthcare. How so?
Well, my lab works very closely with folks at Stanford Medicine and other hospitals, applying these ideas to really practical problems. Think patient safety, helping out busy clinicians.
Okay, give me some examples. What does that look like on the ground?
They're using smart sensors, basically AI with spatial awareness, as sort of extra pairs of eyes in hospitals.
Extra eyes doing what?
For instance, detecting if a doctor or nurse forgets to wash their hands before going into a patient's room, a simple thing, but huge for preventing infections. Or tracking surgical tools during an operation to make absolutely sure nothing gets left behind.
That's incredible. And critical.
Absolutely. Or even monitoring how a patient is moving in their bed or room to predict if they're at high risk of falling and alerting the staff immediately. These aren't just ideas, they're being piloted and used.
So it's like an AI safety net, watching and alerting. But the talk also mentioned needing an extra pair of hands.
Right, because monitoring is one thing, but staff are often stretched so thin they need actual help. So imagine autonomous robots zipping around the hospital delivering supplies or taking samples to the lab. That frees up nurses for actual patient care.
Okay, robots helping with logistics. What else?
Think about augmented reality for surgeons. Glasses that overlay vital signs or 3D scans directly onto their view during surgery. Or, pushing it further, enabling patients who are severely paralyzed to control things around them.
Control things how?
Using robotic arms, maybe, or other devices, and controlling them just with their thoughts, detected through non-invasive brain signals.
Wait, controlling a robot with your brain? Like, without implants?
Exactly. The talk actually showed a pilot study from my lab demonstrating this. Someone wearing an EEG cap, just measuring electrical signals on the scalp, was controlling a robotic arm.
What was the robot doing?
It was cooking, preparing a Japanese sukiyaki meal following the user's mental commands. It's early, for sure, but the potential for people with disabilities is just enormous.
That is truly amazing. Cooking sukiyaki with your mind via a robot arm.
Yeah.
Let's just circle back for a second to where we started this whole conversation, that Cambrian explosion, sight-changing everything.
Yeah, 500 million years ago. Vision arrives, life explodes in complexity, intelligence starts its journey.
And the talk draws this parallel, right? Saying the AI progress we've seen, especially in the last decade, could be just as big. A digital Cambrian explosion.
It's a powerful analogy, but the key idea is that this digital explosion won't reach its full transformative potential until our machines, our computers and robots, are really grounded in spatial intelligence, just like nature grounded us.
So it's not enough for them to be smart in the abstract. They need to understand and interact with the real physical 3D world.
Exactly. They need to reason about space, time, physics, interaction, and maybe even help us create new kinds of spaces and interactions.
Getting there sounds like a massive challenge, though.
Oh, it is. Immensely challenging.
Yeah.
And it requires real care, real discipline, making sure we keep humans absolutely central to how we develop and use all this.
But if we do get it right, the future, she describes, sounds pretty incredible. Not just AI as tools, but as partners.
Trusted partners, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the vision. Partners that can genuinely boost our productivity, maybe even enhance our humanity, respect our dignity, and help lift everyone's prosperity.
So the final thought is this picture of AI becoming more aware, more perceptive, spatially intelligent, joining us in trying to make things better.
Right. It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? How fundamentally different will things be when the digital systems we rely on don't just process information, but truly understand the physical space we share and can act within it alongside us? What does that world look like?